Romulan?
The only Romulans ever assimilated, as far as I know. The only Romulans ever assimilated, as far as I know.
Main screen turn on. What you say? Well, there you go, folks. The disordered. They are assimilated Romulans. Of course, we knew that. But according to Hugh, these assimilated, disordered Romulans are the first Romulans ever to be assimilated, according to him, as far as he knows. That was said in Star Trek Picard. That is real dialogue. I'm not making it up. There's the proof. That little recap that you saw there at the beginning was from the recent episode, Star Trek Picard, episode 7, Nepenthe. That was the little recap they show at the beginning of what happened in previous episodes. So I'm assuming that was from an actual previous episode. I guess the one where they learned all about that, and I had just, I guess I forgot that dialogue was in there, or I missed it when it was originally said, but I did catch it on this recap, and that makes me question a lot of things because it really doesn't make sense. And in fact, there's proof that there have been other assimilated Romulans. I put Romulan and assimilated together and came up with assimilated. In fact, I'll throw some pictures up. Here is a picture of an ex-Romulan Borg drone, a liberated Borg drone, in the Star Trek Voyager episode, Unity. So in that episode, it is Chakotay who finds a group of liberated Borg drones, or crash lands, or something happens, whatever, and he's found by them. And yes, one of the liberated Borg drones is a Romulan. Ooh, right there. And then we have another episode in Voyager called Infinite Regress. And in this one, 7 of 9 has some flashbacks. And in those flashbacks, well, there's a Romulan on a Borg cube being assimilated. I did it again. Being assimilated. So, what do you have to say about that, Star Trek Picard writers? So, there's either two things happening here, maybe three things. Either they just simply don't know about it, and they don't know the history of Star Trek. They didn't research it enough, and they just were not in the know that there have been assimilated Romulans. That could make sense because they have, in a way, intentionally forgotten or rewritten past known things in Star Trek history already with this series. They seem to ignore a lot of the history or just simply not know it. There's a lot of talk about them not knowing certain styles and certain things, and that the actors have actually had to tell them, hey, this is how my character acted and dressed in the series, because they just don't do the research and they don't know this stuff. So it's very possible they just simply are ignorant of this fact. Another reason is this could actually be a storyline thing, and it's going to lead somewhere, and it's intentional that Hugh said that. A third option is Hugh just doesn't know. It's not like he knows every Borg that there was in the collective. So he wouldn't specifically know that these Borg in the Delta Quadrant were assimilated. They could have been assimilated after he was, or whatever, and he just may not know about it. So he is speaking the truth, but just simply doesn't know about it. So any of those possibilities, I guess, could be real. But it is an interesting, bold statement that they made there at the beginning. So the question is, what really does that mean? And I do find it extremely hard to believe that these would be the first Romulans ever assimilated. That does not make a lot of sense. The Borg have had many a ship, many a cube, many a presence in the Beta Quadrant where the Romulans live. They would have encountered Romulans probably before humans, and probably had assimilated Romulans before that, and especially after they have become aware of the Federation and everything, and everything going on in this quadrant of the galaxy. They certainly would have assimilated Romulans by this point in time. So I find it hard to believe that the Romulans on the Shaenor, that is the name of the scout ship that was assimilated, are the first Romulans ever assimilated. That doesn't make a lot of sense, but I am having a lack of faith in Star Trek Picard writers at this point in time, or the producers or whoever, at actually making a lot of sense with this. So I could actually see them going that route and saying stuff like that, even if it's not true, or rewriting Star Trek history and just rewriting canon anyway. That has certainly happened a lot lately, and I could see them doing that. Because remember, it is said that because of these Romulans on the Shaenor being assimilated, that is what has caused the submatrix collapse on the Borg cube. So somehow, for some reason, assimilating them was a no-no, and it made the Borg cube basically disconnect from the collective, and then the collective just left it there like it was a dead limb or something. So something about assimilating the disordered Romulans on the Shaenor. They weren't disordered before they were assimilated, but they became assimilated, and then now that they're liberated, they are disordered. But somehow assimilating them in the first place caused this submatrix collapse. I just don't buy that they're the first ever Romulans to be assimilated. Obviously, they're not, because in Star Trek Voyager, there's 2 examples right there I've just proven where there are Romulans that have been assimilated. And the reason why I'm bringing this all up is a recent video I just made. You can check it out. I tackled a theory that a fan had brought up in a YouTube comment. And the theory is, are the Romulans androids? Are the Romulans synthetics? Maybe the Vulcans made the Romulans and they are androids or synthetics. Check out that video where I talked about that topic. And in that topic, I proposed the theory that if they were synthetics, that could be a reason for why when the Borg cube assimilated the Romulans on the Shaenor, that it would have caused the submatrix collapse. Because of them being androids or synths, could have totally messed up the Borg programming or whatever and disconnected them from the collective. That is a theory that works out in that scenario. But you can only buy that scenario if the Borg have never assimilated Romulans before, and these are the first they've ever assimilated. Because then it would have happened to another cube or another whatever. It would have happened in the past. And it hasn't. So, and I can't really buy that they've never assimilated Romulans before this. They obviously have. And they would have. In fact, there was a whole storyline earlier in the Borg story where I believe they were destroying planets around the neutral zone area. So the Borg have been all over the Beta Quadrant and the neutral zone. They have met Romulans before. I can't see how this would be the first time they've ever assimilated them. Yeah, that just doesn't make sense to me, unless Picard is rewriting things, which could happen. So anyway, lots of ideas and theories there. Think about it yourself. Post your comment below and let me know what you think. Is it a mistake on Star Trek Picard's part? You know, is it intentional? Are they writing this intentional? This was meant to happen? Or are they rewriting canon and changing things in ways they shouldn't be? Or did they just plain old forget the history and just not know that Romulans have been assimilated before? I'm interested to know what you think about that little comment that was made. It's a little comment, it's short and sweet, but it's a powerful statement if Hugh is correct. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more on my channel. Check out Twitter at Brent_Justice for updates. You can follow me there. Also, check out my Patreon page, patreon.com/Brent Justice. This helps support the channel and also allows me to publish more and more videos.